I'm going to miss everyone in that building. Best people in the world.
Today, some people said goodbye to their jobs. It was the deadline for many workers in the Northwest to be vaccinated for COVID. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. The mandates in Oregon and Washington apply to hundreds of thousands of workers. That includes state employees, teachers, and healthcare workers. In Washington, the governor said 92% of state employees were vaccinated. That leaves about 5,000 whose jobs were at risk. We're still working to find out the total number of people now unemployed. We did hear today from those who lost their jobs at Legacy Health and with the Washington State Patrol.
And why? Not because I'm a bad nurse, not because I did something wrong in my job, but because I refused to take a vaccine that goes against my religious beliefs.
Between my service to the country and the citizens of the state of Washington, I've got over 25 years, and it feels like, trying to put it nicely, I guess, it doesn't count for anything.
As of last week, Portland-based Legacy Health said just 5% of its staff was not vaccinated. Washington State's football coach was the highest paid person to be fired over the mandate. Nick Rolovich had publicly said he wouldn't get vaccinated, but wouldn't specify why. He did apply for a religious exemption, but was denied. Other unvaccinated assistant coaches for the Cougars have also been fired. Today was also the deadline for Portland City employees and Multnomah County employees to get vaccinated. Our Alma McCarty checked in on those numbers and with Portland Public Schools. Alma?
Well, across the board, vaccination numbers are high. Only a small percentage of workers for the city, the county, and school district will no longer have a job tomorrow.
The deadline has come and gone for many workers to get their shots or lose their jobs. For the city of Portland, the number of workers subject to the vaccine policy is 6,146. That's all city employees minus the Portland Police Bureau, whose members are exempt from the mandate. 91% are fully vaccinated. 342 got approved for medical or religious exceptions. 91 people are leaving their positions and status pending for nearly 50 more. As for the county's 5,600 workers, less than 1% are accepting a separation, just 35 people. Of those, only 8 are regular full-time employees. For Portland Public Schools,
over 96% of our staff are fully vaccinated, and a little over an additional 1%, about 89 people who are partially vaccinated.
Chief of Human Resources Sharon Reese tells me around 175 employees chose not to get the vaccine and aren't subject to one of the exceptions. Therefore, come Tuesday, they'll be placed on leave while PPS processes their terminations.
We're anticipating about 9 classroom teachers will not be returning as a result of the vaccine mandate. A handful of our paraeducators, about the same number, actually around 8 of our paraeducators who will not be returning.
Out of 340 or so custodial workers, as of now, 24 will not be returning. Reese says several weeks ago the district was expecting even more employees to part ways over the new requirement.
We have had, in the last 60 days since the announcement of the vaccine mandate, we have had over 200 employees who went and got their first dose. So we know it's made a difference in people's decision around whether or not they were going to get vaccinated.
It's been a tremendous effort verifying the vaccination status of nearly 8,000. Reese says substitutes are already in place to take over for the handful of teachers that are leaving.
We have educators who their mission, their careers are all about students and the children in our community. And what we know is the vaccine is the way through this pandemic.
Next week, the Board of Education will hear from health experts about a possible vaccine requirement for eligible students. Families can weigh in on this discussion. The first of 3 virtual town halls will be tomorrow. More on that topic on KGW.com.
Thank you, Alma. New at 11, the situation over illegal marijuana farms is getting more dire in southern Oregon. Jackson County commissioners have asked Governor Kate Brown to send in the National Guard for help. This comes a week after police raided a site in Medford that had about 2 tons of marijuana and 17,000 pot plants. Commissioners declared a state of emergency the same day. Authorities say cartels have set up hundreds of unlicensed growing operations in the state since last spring. The governor's office so far does not plan to respond with troops, but says the situation will be re-examined next year. A grim milestone in Portland's ongoing gun violence crisis. The city has now gone past 1,000 shootings this year. That is now the most shootings the city has ever reported, and there are still 10 weeks left in the year. Mike Benner has a reaction from Portland's police chief, as well as neighbors impacted by the gunfire.
Can I see?
Monday morning at Mount Scott Park in southeast Portland, Cherie Chin walks her little dog Ruby, a daily activity she chooses to do in daylight.
And I never would come at night and because she's not a watchdog yet.
And Chin isn't the only one avoiding the park after dark. We met a dad at the playground who refuses to venture out at night.
Once it gets dark and he has to go to the park, we're kind of like, nah, not right now, maybe tomorrow.
There have been more than 400 shootings in the East Precinct, a number of those happening in the Mount Scott Arleta area. In fact, neighbors say there are stretches when the gunfire is nightly. Just listen to what one neighbor caught on a home security camera.
Yeah, at night, around 11 or 12 or whenever. It's like, was that a car backfiring or something else? And then I'll check next door. And people like right here, like, yeah, it was right in front of my house. I had to knock my mom down so she didn't get shot.
Unfortunately, similar stories are playing out all over Portland. This past weekend, the Rose City saw its 1,000th shooting of the year. That's up from 891 in all of 2020 and 388 in 2019.
I grew up in Chicago area, so it's kind of what you see on the news there, and don't expect it to happen here.
Portland Police Chief Chuck Lavelle was not available for an on-camera interview Monday, but in a series of tweets over the weekend, he called the 1,000th shooting a grim milestone. He said the enhanced community safety team is working hard to investigate the cases, and the Bureau is building the focused intervention team to de-escalate and lower the tensions in the community that feed the gun violence crisis.
I just think it's insane. I do. It blows my mind.
Having just moved into a neighborhood directly impacted by the shootings, Cherie Chin is hoping for a ceasefire.
Let's make it right. Let's make it right.
A lot of people are also asking us how much gangs are responsible for the recent increase in shootings. And police told us they estimate roughly half of the shootings in Portland are somehow connected to gangs. Another 25% are connected to crimes like robbery, road rage, or domestic violence. The last 25% of Portland shootings involve disputes within the homeless community, which is relatively new. Other factors that could also be contributing to gun violence include loss of support systems due to the pandemic, easy access to guns, or distrust of police. We took a much deeper look into the problem tonight on The Story. You can watch the full report on the KGW YouTube channel. And in Vancouver, a chase led to a deadly shootout with deputies over the weekend. And now a family says Clark County deputies should have been more careful after their home was riddled with bullets. The shootout happened yesterday morning with a man police say was wanted and armed. Bullets flew through the family's home. You can see the holes that go through the whole house. 2 family members were there, and they say they're lucky they weren't killed too.
Somebody need to be accountable. I don't know how you train, but I believe you were there. You chose this job because you want to protect the community. You wanted to protect us, not to hurt us. But the way I see those bullets there, it's not something protecting us.
The man died in their driveway. We've reached out to the Clark County Sheriff's Office, Vancouver Police, and several other agencies involved for their take on this. We haven't heard back. We're still working to learn who the man was and who fired the first shots. Another growing issue police are seeing is car theft, and they're warning of a troubling tactic. Listen to this. In the past week, there have been 4 nearly identical incidents in southeast Portland. The victims are women who have been driving alone. They describe 2 to 4 teenagers running up to their car, yelling, and sometimes banging on the vehicle. The teens tell the unsuspecting drivers something is wrong with their car. When the driver gets out to check, the thieves jump in and take off.
Just get out of the area if you can. We certainly recommend people don't get out of their car, lock their doors, and drive away to a safe location if they can. If that's not possible, if they feel like they're stuck, then they can certainly call for help. If they have a cell phone, you can call 911. We'll come and give you a hand.
If you know anything about these recent crimes, you're asked to contact Portland Police.